American education off the rails. A Columbia graduate who defected from North Korea in 2007 says she was astonished by what lessons were taught at the prestigious university. She told Fox News she drew comparisons to the oppressive regime in North Korea. Listen to this.
I came to America. I fell in love with this country. This is such a wonderful country. I've never been accepted more than this country was. And at Columbia University, literally every professor was saying that, the problems that we have on today's world is because of white men. How they colonize Africa, Asia, right? That's how they mess up everything. And they are the one who needs to be blamed. And I couldn't believe that, am I sitting in North Korea's classroom or in America, actually?
Joe Concha, your reaction to that?
Oh, I was watching that interview and was fascinated, Dagan. Yomi Park. She also said, quote, I expected that I was paying this fortune to go to Columbia University, all this time and energy to learn how to think, but they are forcing you to think the way they want you to think. And we see this. I got a 5- and a 7-year-old, and thankfully my education system, we're at the very embryonic stages of it. But from what I hear from folks in town in terms of what they're teaching in high school, it's like police are bad people and men are oppressors and women are the oppressed. And we're teaching our kids not to judge each other by the content of one's character, but based on the color of their skin. And we're taking our eye off, Dagan, basic blocking and tackling in education. We're not even in the top 10 in science, the U.S., the most advanced country in the world. We're 30th in math. So it's why more countries now are turning to Asia and India to fill jobs, because simply those coming out of those education systems, they're smarter and more responsible because we're focused on political correctness and race, and it's having a real impact in terms of the people that are going to be running this country in the future.
Liz, is it too much to ask that if you're going to pay $250,000 for an education to come out with some basic math and science skills that could get you a job?
Apparently it is, Dagan. I think the most troubling thing about what this young woman had to say is that eventually she stopped asking questions and speaking out in class just to get through, because every time she spoke up and questioned some of the things she was hearing from her professors, she basically got called out, got bad grades or whatever. And I think an awful lot of American students are probably doing the same. They keep their head down, they kind of deflect, they don't want to engage in any controversy. All they want to get is that degree to set them on their way. This is really offensive. It is so much money American taxpayers and parents are spending and coming up with all this garbage. The good news, Dagan, is that parents are beginning to speak out. We've had a year of them watching their kids' education much more closely than in the past. And in some states, as you know, they're challenging the introduction of critical race theory and other, really terrible dogma that's being fed to their kids. I just can't imagine that our country is going to be this stupid to teach our kids to hate their country. If anyone wanted to topple the United States, that's where you would start, and we can't let it happen.
Teaching, and also teaching young adults to hate themselves.